Hello.
You're muted. Jay, you're muted. Now you're not.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
We can hear you now,
All right,
Bryson.
sweet. Something's weird on my end because like the video played twice. Like I don't know what's going on here, but what was it? Hey, remember that old that old 80s film Overdrive?
Mhm.
Where like the machines like got minds of their own and they started wreaking havoc everywhere. Like, yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, welcome to the Pundits Pundit. It's another Wednesday night, and I think it's you. It's Eugene. I knew it.
I didn't do it. I added him to the stream.
Well, there goes Jacob.
Add him.
Okay, I don't know what's going on. Okay, I am. Hang on.
Jen, are we in the background of your dream home?
There it
No,
is.
but my Christmas boxes are still out, so I got embarrassed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is.
So you're just gonna do this all night, aren't you?
Yeah,
I'll be talking. You'll be shutting me down.
Yep.
Pundits Pundit. We are right. So we do have a loaded show. Thanks everybody for tuning in. If you are a first-time watcher, you can find us on YouTube if you're not already watching us on there now. Also on Facebook Live and on Twitter. And I am here with my co-host. This is Jen, aka Keep Pounding Baby, right next to Scott, the Motor City Mad Mouth, who's on his way.
Okay, Jay, you keep going in and out.
Yeah. I hear every other
Jay,
word.
you've got AOL right now.
Cowboys and Jaguars. So if you can like roll up a paper ball and throw it at Jerry Jones, that'd be great. Am I?
And
all right, and then we also have
now we've got human internet again.
The Christner, as well as our special guest, Mr. Jordan Long, who wanted to come on about one of our special topics this evening. That's a carryover from
He's been
last
wanting
week.
to come on for ages, and we're happy to have him.
Yeah, that's true. I have been. Plus, come on, you're talking about my new CU head coach who actually, when he was hired, took over the news cycle for the Denver Broncos. Didn't have to worry about a Bronco game.
Richard Roundtree?
Actually, I think I had to reload the site. It was like the video played. You know how the video plays in the beginning? Well, it kept going and going and going. It was replaying for like the 8th time. I was like, dude, stop.
It's like the Energizer Bunny keeps going and going and going.
And going and going. Yeah.
So, Scott, got a question.
Yeah.
Got a question. Are you our Jimmy the Greek of this show?
If you want me to be.
But
and that was my pool boy you also just saw.
Are you referencing my Jaguars cap? I'm taking the trip up 5 hours up I-95, okay, to see the Jaguars and the Cowboys.
He remembers the days when there was no Jaguars. That's another H reference counter.
Yeah, don't remind me because they ended up coming into my
but that's kind of all of us. So
Well, the Jaguars and the Panthers came in at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
Brothers. Yeah.
And 99. I don't want to talk about 1996. That divisional game. Don't want to talk about it.
And in their second season,
what were
in
you
their second season, they
7 years old.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, right.
Just so before we get started, just let everybody know that we are on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, sponsored by the Score app. It's gambling for dummies. It's awesome.
Okay, so I'm going to recap what Jay is trying to say.
Yeah, please do, because I'm hearing every other word.
You love it. You want to do it more. You got to come out of pocket buy some more coins.
Score or no score just went broke.
That's kind of how.
Okay, so let's go to the Score or No Score app and see if Denzel is going to keep his audio for the rest of the show. We are sponsored by Score or No Score. That you can find it on the Apple Store and the Google Play Store as well. And gentlemen, without further ado, because I know 3 of you have back-to-back tonight. And so, back-to-back. Sorry, did I say that right? And so let's go ahead and start without much further ado. Oh, Jacob, which one do you want to start with? Because I know
I was telling Jay we're going Steve Keem. Let's get it.
Okay.
That's the soonest one.
Yeah, so this just came out about half an hour before our Confidential show. And if y'all missed that, please feel free to check it out on the Sideline Sports Facebook page, YouTube page, or JB Ellis's Twitter page. But Steve is taking an indefinite leave of absence book for health issues. So we definitely wish him the best, and we hope that, everything, comes out daisies. So, Jacob, Scott, Jordan, do y'all want to add?
We know this is because of Mike Leach. We know this is why.
Yeah.
And that was and Mike Leach ends up, he had a heart condition we didn't know about. He ended up having a stroke. And it's like, and this is, you gotta realize.
I thought Mike Leach passed away of cancer.
It was he went into the hospital with a heart attack.
Yeah.
Poor guy. I mean, I loved Mike Leach. The things he had to say that, didn't have to do with football.
Right up my alley. They're completely right up my alley.
I mean,
he left law to become a coach. And so,
Well, something. Yeah. The thing about it is the fact that there's no question he did that. There is no coincidence to this. There's no question he did that. I mean, I bet you Steve Keem had I'll bet you anything for the last 6 or 8 weeks he's felt like crap, and then this happened. And it's like it's time. They're just saying it with, and it's like there is so much. This is what fans will never understand. There is so unbelievable amount of pressure in the NFL, and we don't think about it because there's more and more and more and more younger people. There's more younger people in the NFL that can take this. You notice that there's less and less older people. There is
right.
It's like the oldest. What is the oldest one right now? Is it Andy Reid?
It's either.
Let me look that up real quick. Or Scott, do you know a lot?
I would Pete Carroll's in his.
Pete Carroll. Belichick.
It's either Bill Belichick or Pete Carroll.
But I'll tell you. But the thing is,
hey Jacob, I asked Scott.
Pete Carroll, I think he still surfs. He gives himself a life outside of football. And it's one of those things. But then there are ones that go to 18, 20-hour days, get very little sleep, and do this type of stuff. And then we talked about this with coaches and alcohol and all the pressures that there are. And it's like this. I just wonder if this whole situation with Mike Leach is going to start changing something.
Well, here's the thing. Remember, Bruce Arians left to give way to Todd Bowles, and I know he was in and out due to health issues too. So, I mean, you're right. There could be a trend taking place. And by the way, I want to show you this Mississippi State Bulldogs shirt. I don't know if you're seeing it.
Yeah.
Bring it on the Sports Exchange. I actually bought this shirt out in Tennessee at a Walmart, I believe. And, I just bought it. I just felt like it. And I saw it. This looks pretty cool. I didn't know it was short sleeve. But you never know where you can buy it. And, of course, now it paid for itself because I not only am going to wear it tonight on this show, but I'll wear it on the Sports Exchange as well. But, yeah, let's face the reality. The pressure of a coach, general manager, whatever the case may be, is more so now because of the demand to win. And owners have their patience is a lot shorter and they're paying a lot of money. So,
well, I'm going to look at
and
this.
Y'all, whoever said Pete Carroll, I'm sorry, as the oldest, you were correct. He's 70, Belichick 69, Aaron's is 69, followed by Cooley.
I'll take credit for that because
definitely give to him, no question. No, these are the
How
things.
old is Love? Lovey.
These are the things. Bringing this up with health, there's something making me think, regardless of how the season ends. How much time does Tomlin have? He's got 15 years in. He doesn't look. I'm not saying the health is bad. I'm saying he does not look like the guy with gumption like he usually has. There are decisions made that look like the front office, unlike the other years. It just looks like he just looks like he's wearing down.
Well, and
he's 50 years old.
I think he's age 50 too. So if he's wearing down at age 50, my goodness.
Yeah, and it's like, see, he started at 37.
Right.
He started at 37. So it's like, I'm saying though, really, how much is it health and how much is it you're just wearing out and you want a new start at something?
Well, I think with Steve, I think that you're right. It did have something to do with Mike Leach. I also think, Kingsbury is going to give anybody a heart attack. Let's face facts. He kind of,
especially in December.
Right.
And they're not even.
And then with Kyler going down with an ACL on Monday night.
That was what, the third play of the game?
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, their opening drive. Yeah.
I saw a Pittsburgh fan asking for Kingsbury instead of Tomlin. I'm like, Kingsbury's got a 250 winning percentage in December. Tomlin like 700.
I'd rather take Tomlin over Kingsbury any day of the week.
I'll take Tomlin over most anybody.
But remember a couple of important points I want to bring up. Dick Vermeil many years ago burned out, took some time off, went into TV, then went back, coached the Rams to the Super Bowl. That's item number one. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing that you had is Sean Payton's taking time off for about a year or two, and now he's chomping at the bit to get back in. So, I mean, when you look at all these different things, age, stress related, they all they're interchangeable depending on the individual, what they can handle pressure wise, let alone the organization they're in, plus the talent level that they have. There's a culmination of things that really wear on you over the course of time.
Plus you never get a real vacation because the minute's over. Okay, got to get yourself ready for free agency in March. I'm just saying hypotheticals, got to get ourselves ready for this and that. Got the draft in April. Got this, that. I mean, it's everything. It's every day. I mean, the hours just pile up. If you give a vacation, it's never for long. It's like
but last week, as similar topic, like GMs have assistant GMs for a reason. They have scouting departments for a reason.
Yeah,
like, everybody has to take a vacation.
That's true, except for the GM is the one that does personnel moves. Yes, they can get
but they have a team that they work with, and they work hand in hand with the coach.
Right, I will agree with that. But at the end of the day, the general manager, yes, he can get input from the assistant general manager, the coaches, the scouting departments. But at the end of the day, whose job is on the line when they don't do well? Usually, obviously, it's the coach, but then it's who has made the personnel moves. I will use the Denver Broncos, for example. Yes, I you know how much I do not like Nathaniel Hackett. I do blame Nathaniel Hackett, but I also look at what has George Patton done? He's done nothing to improve this team. So I think right there is the personnel moves that he has failed to do so. So there was a great article written by 104.3 The Fan, which is a station in Denver, pointing the problems with George Patton. They never pointed the finger at Nathaniel Hackett because of his failure to build the team. So if you look at that, yes, coaches are important, but the general managers at the end are the ones that say,
and they are this person.
Yeah. But
hello, you there, Jen?
She had to go up the door. All right, she's back. So
I didn't mean to cut you off, Jen. But
sorry.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just know that if you really look at it,
sometimes it is on the coach. Like look at Matt Rule.
No doubt, I will agree with that for sure.
And the one like Matt Rule went on the air saying that he had no input in who he drafted. Baloney.
He probably did. He gave his input.
No, I know he did. As a matter of fact, trust me, I know he did. And I know one of our running backs he drafted because his wife told him that they were going to have a fight if he did not draft him. And I won't say which draft because she liked him. I'm sorry, but Scott, you're married. Do you tell Candy how to do her job?
Heck no.
He knows.
Does she tell you how to do your job?
Well, she will give me some suggestions, but she's she's a different bird. She knows what we're talking about here.
Right.
So I give her more latitude for suggestions. My direction, I wouldn't be caught dead, wouldn't say anything about hers.
Right.
Now, the only time I'll ever say anything if she's venting about a situation, about a person.
Personnel, that's different.
Right. Well, but she does come on me when she wants to vent. And I'm more than happy to volunteer stuff if she asks me, but I give her a lot more leeway here than most people think, because when you have a significant other that knows what she's doing and has been around me as long as she has, I do. But in the end, when it comes to these shows here, I make the final call anyways, and she does what we need to do. So
yeah, exactly.
Delicate balance.
And I know that because I had a player tell me this happened because Matt Rule told the running back room this happened. And yeah, so I know, like, I freaking hate Matt Rule.
I know you do.
Tell me how you really feel.
I'm getting that way with
I feel
Nathaniel
bad for
Hackett.
Nebraska.
So do I.
But that's a great segue because you know why Matt Rule cannot escape the NFL? Because Deion Sanders literally took a DC from the NFL with him to CU. All right, Jordan, take it away, and then we're gonna give you our theory or on what should happen next with HBCUs.
So, you guys know how excited I am for Deion
Sanders. No.
Are you excited about Deion Sanders being there?
Not at all.
I know, you can't tell, right?
No.
But the thing I look at Deion Sanders is, where has the program been before him? Well, I'll tell you. The last time we were any good was really, and I'm talking about the University of Colorado, 2001. And that season, I hated the BCS. Why? Well, because we had to play in the Fiesta Bowl rather than probably playing Nebraska in the Fiesta Bowl or going to the national championship game. But since then, Dan Hawkins, 2006 to 2010, not very good, 19-39, one bowl appearance. Then John Embry, who honestly probably shouldn't have gotten the job. He was 4-21 in 2 years. Mike McIntyre, 6 years, 2003 to 2018, one bowl appearance, the Alamo Bowl in 2016, lost to Oklahoma State, 38-8. Overall at CU, for McIntyre, 30-44. Of course, this guy I'm not exactly pleased with, and that is Mel Midnight Tucker. Reason why, he spent 1 year at CU, then took the Michigan State job, 5-7. Carl Durrell, 2020 to 5 games this year, 8-15. Again, though, if you look since 2005, CU has gone 37-88, a winning percentage of 29.6. Not
Woo-hoo.
good. Yeah, exactly. Of course, we only won one game this year. But the thing is, though, I look at the athletic department with Rick George. Rick George has been there since, I want to say 2015. The thing is, though, he fired Mac McIntyre, hired Mel Tucker, and also hired Carl Durrell and fired Carl Durrell. So this, honestly, is his thinking. We need to get a big name. He got Deion Sanders. Of course, I think if the Mississippi State job was open at the time, rest in peace, Mike Leach, he probably would have gone there. I'm just surprised that we were able to lure Deion Sanders here because of the fact we haven't been great. But like Deion had said,
I'm sorry, I'm listening. I'm sorry, good. Jordan.
He wanted to be in a big-time conference.
She's listening, but not listening.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The Pac-12. And I like what Deion's doing right now. He went into the room full of, players at CU and said, transfer now. I'm going to get my own guy. So he's definitely changing the culture. I just hope that he can win be better than 1-11. But I'm excited right now.
Well, the thing about Deion was if he was going to do, I got to give this guy, I gave my stuff last week about what I think he did with HBCUs, but this is not that. So let's just say this part right now. If he was going to pick a conference to give a start in FBS, this is the one.
Yeah.
It's
good
like
point.
You, especially when when black coaches are still trying to prove themselves, go right into the middle of the snake pit of the SEC and see what happens. Really fast, especially when Nick Saban is still a monster. Tennessee's getting better. I mean, it's like he picked something where it's never going to be a guarantee USC stays the way they are. UCLA is never consistent. You can make this. There's no question. But here's my question I have for Deion. It's like when he said that and he went into that bowl, how many of the players did he actually meet any players in the office or in anywhere in a locker room? The ones that are going to say what he was going to say, and those are the ones that are going to stay.
I know he said it after the game. I don't know if he said it before or whatever really happened at Jackson State.
How many would be confused because he might like a few of them, the ones that work ethic or whatever. How many would be confused? Because I don't know if you got to remember how many players are on a roster want to kill them all?
That's a very good point. I never thought about that.
Go ahead.
Very good point.
All right, well, here's what my take is on the whole thing. Number one, Deion Sanders is not afraid to undertake challenges. And obviously he took one at Jackson State, HBCU, took it as far as he could go, even went as far to lobby, why can't we get an HBCU into a bowl game? But to no avail. He took that program as far as he could go. Now, why did he take the Colorado job? Easy, okay? It's not as heralded of a program as some of the other ones. So if you can replicate the challenge from Jackson State to Colorado, then you look like a big-time genius, okay? A big-time, prime-time genius, okay? And now I believe he brought Mike Zimmer over from Jackson State, and we know he's going to assemble an incredible coaching staff. So the way I see it with Deion Sanders is he got the right term on his contract. 5 years, $29.5 million. Once he conquers that hurdle, he's going to the National Football League, whether you believe it or not. He will do that. That's my gut feeling. I've been around this business a long time. And that's just where I think the guy is going to be headed. Now, mind you, okay, what's going to happen is with USC and UCLA moving to the Big Ten, the Pac-12 is there for the taking in terms of a Pac-12 title. And we also, I put out on Twitter today, what would the 12 college football 12 teams look like today? And I put that on Twitter a little while ago before I came on the show. So when you put it all in perspective, okay, the Pac-12 media rights are going to go up because of Deion Sanders. There's going to be some more value there. So prime time will be staying in the Rockies. I would say for the duration of his contract, I'd be hard pressed to see him stay much longer than that. But he's about one guy where I think he could get bored after so many years. I'm moving on to my next thing. We saw that at Jackson State. We saw that in TV, and we're going to see it at Colorado. And I'm going to tell you, if he does well with the Buffaloes, I can only imagine what he's going to be worth on the open market in the NFL. And he could be that flamboyant coach that the NFL needs. I know the NFL's had a lot of African-American coaches, you know, the Tony Dungy's. There's been a fair amount of success, and there are a fair amount of failures. I mean, two that were unfortunate were David Culley, who was an unfortunate thing because he walked into a pathetic situation in Houston, and a lot of guys have been set up to fail. Even Steve Wilkes over in Arizona, who I believe, in my mind, is a front runner to get that Carolina Panthers job after they go through the interview process. So I'm not trying to get off topic here, but Deion Sanders.
But you are.
Like, well, not really.
Well,
I'm not. I'm bringing it all back together. Okay. No. So Deion Sanders, to me, okay, will take this as far as he can go, and he will move on, and he could do an awful lot of great things at Colorado and make sure the job
take my umbrella
than what it is.
Do you notice? Jokes aside on that, but I was saying, do you notice what Deion is going to bring for the future? We were talking about one thing he's bringing, you know, like what he could do from Jackson State to Colorado. You know what another thing we're seeing? How many times have you seen on the internet or in the papers or any part of the media, this guy, I mean, with real story credential, this guy hires this guy for quarterbacks coach. This guy hires this guy for special team. It's not just a blurb in the on the internet. It's not just a blurb on ESPN. Oh, he hired this guy. It's a full story. He's legitimately bringing out the importance of a real coaching staff for the coach, because what you get with fans so much is blame the coach, blame the coach, blame the coach, blame the quarterback. You know, simplistic garbage. But he's bringing out how much it takes to win. You know, how much of a crew it takes. Because anybody going near him has left big jobs to go with him. And he's kind of shown the importance of a real crew.
So I'll say this, Scott, I do agree with you. I think Deion will end up trying to get into the NFL. I think Deion's too much of a bully and he will not last long in the NFL as a coach. I think that's why he will stick in college. Just my humble opinion. But we see that with the statements he's making now. And I understand the statements he's making now. Like, hey, you guys are in a losing mentality. Get the heck out. I want to bring in my own guys, my own luggage, who want to be winners. And he wants to go ahead and change that culture and that face now. And he is bringing in coaches that honestly, whoever your AD is, who's the AD again, Jordan?
It's Rick George.
Rick George should have been bringing in some of these, big, names.
Oh, he should have been. Yeah, I agree with that.
That he has coming in, this could be a stepping stone for this DC to actually go back into the NFL as a head coach.
But Jennifer, something, I'm dealing with that in Miami. Okay, Mario Cristobal had a 5-7 year, inherited the job from Manny Diaz, who went 7-5, got run out of town, and prior to that, Mark Richt. Mario Cristobal walked into a tough situation. I was at his season-ending media availability at the game in our loss against Pittsburgh. And I can tell you right now, Coach Cristobal knows that now he knows what hand he's been dealt, okay? And now he's going to try to change the culture around Miami because he knows what the Miami history and tradition is. So guys like them that either inherit a job or know what the culture is or are trying to change it, they have their work cut out for them. But that's usually an average of about a 2 or 3 year undertaking, Jen, Jacob, and Jordan. That's how it is in every sport. But you're right.
Yeah.
But Deion Sanders is surrounding himself with excellent coaches, like he should anyways, if he has a budget to do it, to expedite the process of getting it squared away. And his reputation at Jackson State made believers out of him that he can say, hey, this guy won over at the HBCU level. Now, I have a feeling he's prepared for this next step over with the Bulls subdivision. So, I know he'll make it. He'll do real well. The only thing I'll always say about Deion Sanders, the only stupid thing about him and being a Detroit Lion, covering the Lions for many years, is when he did not want to go to Detroit, that the Fords couldn't afford him. He forgot his math that they have billions of dollars, Deion. So I hope you better retake general math. And all we did was get Barry Sanders. And how did that work out? He's in the Hall of Fame.
And I do agree with you, Scott, that he is building a big staff, and that's something we were missing here in Boulder. Because even with Carl Durrell, they didn't really bring anybody in. It was just another offshoot of Carl Durrell was a guy who went to CU and was like, oh, we're going to hire him. He didn't build a staff really. They kind of kept most of the coaches. And
Jen, you got ugly.
I had to shut the door again. It was cold.
But what he's doing is, like you guys have been saying, he's bringing a winning culture to CU, which hasn't happened in years. And it's kind of nice to see a breath of fresh air.
Oh, no, you're right, Jordan. I hope Colorado does well. I really do. I'm pushing for Colorado and Sanders to get this thing done. It'll be good for college football if the Buffaloes get it turned around.
Hold on a second. Come on, guys. We don't need to hear the game. We don't have the.
I'm not sure.
Oh, sorry. That was me. All right, go ahead.
I
we don't have
figured
the copyright to be able to air the game.
It was AEW. But I'm sorry, guys. Go ahead.
Either way, we don't have copyrights for that.
Yeah.
But no. But those are the things I was going to say. Now that you're back on, Jay, what do you think of the whole situation?
His chances of success in a more competitive environment remains to be seen. Do I think that he can get it done? Yes, I do. I was a big proponent in saying that he latched on to Jackson State and turned the culture so much that kids were spurning going to major colleges to go play for him. Now, just imagine now being in a Power 5, the type of recruits that he can take, and not to mention the area that he's in, because he not only has the state of Colorado, he's got next door in Utah. He may attract even some people. Texas is just right, not directly below, but below and to the east. Texas is right there also. So he wouldn't have far to travel. New Mexico, and dare I say it, the Los Angeles area. It's not that far from there.
It's only like an hour and a half flight.
You want to know another thing I think about is why he would take Colorado. Now this is a non-sports thing, but you want to know another thing. He had that foot surgery, lost the part in the first place, had all that problems, all that circulation issue, probably has some pain. There's weed.
Yeah,
real weed thing in Colorado. It's real thing.
True.
There's probably a lot of deal there. And I can no question in my mind that he would want something that would help. It wouldn't be pills.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Faster recovery time, less pain. I mean, that's got to be taken into consideration as well.
And Mississippi would be rough on it right now.
That's true.
That whole state, it's a red state. They're still trying to be rough on the weeds. So there's a possibility that's a reason.
Yeah. To Jay's point, Colorado has definitely hurt themselves in the past with recruiting. I've listened to sports talk radio, and there's a guy that's on one of those stations that actually trains college or high school athletes to go to college, and he said, "I've tried to get these guys to see you. They don't want them." So, and then they end up, going to USC, Stanford, all the big time names. So with a name like Dion, it definitely will help the recruiting aspect of it, like Jay said.
Well, let me say this. You go to Texas, you got enough talent in Texas to fill 10 planets in the universe. That's how big that state is. If anybody's ever driven from one end of Texas to the other, I-10, that's a 22-hour drive from one end of the state to the other. And I've taken that a few times, so I know. So you don't have to worry about recruiting in Texas. Dion can get anything he wants in that state. And if he decides to come down to Florida where he wants to play at Florida State, he knows that Florida's a great fertile recruiting ground as well. So Dion can get whatever he wants. Let him come to Texas and Florida if he can't get it there, and he'll build it very quickly.
Yeah, and it's not out of the room of thought with Texas also, because you got to understand, Colorado used to be the University of Colorado. Used to be Big 12 territory. And what state's in the Big 12? Texas. So it's not out of the room of thought that some people in Texas would want to go and play in the Pac-12 under Coach Prime.
Right.
They just probably didn't feel like going as far as Mississippi. But, I mean, hey, because I flew to Denver last year, Jordan, you remember, and the flight was not long at all. And I came from Houston. So, you got to – you got that state also. And also, like I said, you have as far out as Southern California as well. Mm-hmm. And then not to mention, next door is Utah. They just won the Pac-12 for the second straight time. So what do you think about him crossing over there in the hostile territory and stealing some of their guys and having them come over and play for Colorado?
Yeah,
I'm all for that.
Mormons to Christians.
Yeah, there you go. I'm all for it, though. I mean, if he can recruit, like I said, if he can take, kids that are going to go to Utah and switch them to Colorado, I'm all for that, because obviously I want them to win, at least get into the Pac-12 championship game. Not necessarily next year, but the next few years. That should be the goal.
I said it about last week. I said, if he has the success that he had at Jackson State, Colorado will be Pac-12 champions in 2 or 3 years.
The reason I brought up the idea of chasing success in a more competitive environment is because the whole point starts with the whole thing with Steve Keem and what happened with Mike Leach and everything, the pressures. And what Dion did as a bit, what I said last week is neither here nor there anymore. He's gone. But I can say this, he made a perfect business decision not to just run himself right into, say, Tennessee. I'm just saying hypothetical. Run into an area where Alabama is. It's like if he wanted to get his team better to go play Alabama in the game number 1 over in, in the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta, it's one thing. If you wanted to do something like that in 2 years or something like that, it's one thing. That's the thing to do to be able to get your team on there. It's another just to get yourself into that, to go play 3 or 4 easy games before you get into the SEC and get murdered. Right. So he made a perfect business decision to be able to see how you do for this one in the first place. And the thing is now, we all talked about health issues. Dion's had a bad foot. He has circulation problems. So he's really, how much overall coaching outside of the game is he going to do? He's hiring everyone. I mean, how much really is he going to do outside of promotion, which he's a master of?
Very much. The kids love Flash. For him to bring that kind of style to Colorado, I mean that's gonna do numbers. Now, how many games do you project he wins his first year?
Give me 9.
Whoa, I was gonna say 6. I'm going 6.
I hope 9. I said he goes 6 and 6. They make a bowl.
7.
I'm going to say 9. I'm not going to do the 10 game thing yet because I could see I could see him working with. Got to remember, it's a new coach. I could see him trying to move their schedule around a little bit, have a couple of easier games. Get everything like that. I can see him getting. I can see the important. I can see the important teams whipping him, but until he gets a better thing. But I can see 9.
And you know what?
But see, Jordan, let me ask you something. Oh,
I was going to ask Jordan a question too. Do y'all play Nebraska? I don't really follow.
We do, yeah.
There's one win right there.
We do play Nebraska. I think that's. I want to say the second. It's the first home game for Deion Sanders is when we play Nebraska.
Oh, you're going to whip them.
I'm going to need y'all to win that game, please.
Yeah, that's a W.
That's a done.
Yeah, that's a win. I mean, if they go 6-6, it'd be kind of an overachievement for Colorado.
I mean, we won one game,
9.
So yeah, I'm going 5.
I can see him screwing the schedule around, like being a new coach, get himself a couple easier games. I can see this because he is really good. He's really good at business. He's really good at overthinking things, even what he does at the X's and O's, I'm not sure, but he's amazing at the intangibles.
If we win 9 games, I'll be very excited. I'm with Jay, though. I'm saying 6 games.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll follow your lead there. I think 6 games is right, and if he gets to 7, he's coach of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was thinking 7, to be honest with you.
6 or 7, I'll give him. But I think 6 is my first feeling, but 7 isn't out of the picture.
If Deion can win a bowl, if he can win a bowl, I don't care if it's the pepperoni slice bowl. If he can win a bowl, he'll be the talk of the offseason.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I want to say our last bowl win came in 2004, so I would agree with that.
He'll be the talk of the offseason.
December 15th, the pepperoni slice bowl.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you
absolutely.
Got 41 bowls, and might as well have 42 and stick a pepperoni in there. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Deion, he's that good. He could probably negotiate like its own game, another bowl game.
The Prime Bowl.
Hey, they might come up with a bowl game called the Cookie Dough Bowl for all we care.
Just might. Just might. I'm just catching up. You guys did the kneeling thing?
No, not yet.
No.
Yeah. Okay, then. Oh, well, we can transition into that real quick.
Okay.
So
I started this. You know this. Do you all know the story?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead.
I did this one because we've had numerous talks in every type of show and all this about all this going on. We never have had the flip side of the issue. I thought the flip side of the issue would be perfect for us to converse about. The biggest thing is this reminds me. See, the biggest thing is she's suing because she was a player this girl was a player that contributed pretty well for this team. Then she had said no to all this. She got benched. She got bullied. The coach ignored her, and then she's gone. And the thing about this is it reminds me of there was a WNBA player about 2 to 3 years ago that said she was straight and Christian and got bullied by her teammates.
And then there was an NFL player for the Steelers who was a former military.
Right.
He did not want to kneel. And he got bullied and had to issue an apology to his teammates.
I thought
here's the deal to me. Kirsten, and I actually agree with her on this. If in fact what her attorney says is true, that she does essentially believe in social justice matters. She believes in essentially their grassroots level of BLM. I do. I don't like the corporate level because the heads of BLM are buying properties that are multi-million-dollar properties.
They're definitely crooked.
Country. Yeah, they're definitely crooked. I'm all about the grassroots level. 100%. And I can see where another young person, but at this point, that coach and Vatek is impeding on her rights to free speech as well.
100%.
And real quick, and I'll put it to you like this: it has to be even across the board, okay?
Yes.
Because you had people who were protesting, and they were getting flack for it. They were getting threatened. You cannot do the same thing because that makes you just as bad.
Thank you.
I agree.
You're
100%.
Say,
100%.
You have rights. She has rights as well. She didn't come out with a Klan hood and say anything racist and say, "Oh, well, this is blah blah blah." She was like, "I believe in everything that you're. I just am not gonna." But the thing about it is that's rights in America. You know, you have the right to kneel. You have the right to stand. You know what I mean? And you shouldn't be persecuted for like either one. You know, but it must be even across the board, because if you're gonna do to her what they did to you, that makes you just as bad as the people doing it to you.
Yeah,
that's my spiel. Go ahead.
And I hope she wins her lawsuit.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I think she will. And it's like, see, the biggest thing I have to say with this is this goes back to the old McCarthy hearings, which I spent my childhood knowing what the McCarthy hearings was. Someone who's a trained actor, someone like me who's a trained actor. I'm not going to be a left of center or a liberal or anything like that. But one thing my father always drilled into our heads is everybody deserves to make a living. Mm-hmm. And that, you know, everybody, regardless of what anything was, it could be any level, they deserve to make a living and go make money. Well, that McCarthy hearings, it blew up. It destroyed writers. It destroyed actors. They had to write. They had to be ghost writers. They had to do everything so they couldn't have their names. All that stuff over that garbage. And you want to know what's going on right now? There are liberals in Hollywood. It's basically their revenge. There are a lot of conservatives that can't get work. They have to make their own stuff. Congratulations to Candace Cameron Bure. She's created her own cheesy network movie thing. You know, she's created it, and she made a pile of money from it. But not every conservative can do that, and it's like, and it's keeping them from that. But we are getting over and over and over. Everything has to be revenge, instead of talking, conversing like we all doing right now. It's all has to be revenge. Oh, we're going to do this to you now. This has got to stop. It's like it's got to stop. Like you said by itself. If she does not want to kneel, that's her right. Just like it's their right to kneel.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's like this has all got to stop. We've got to stop the chaos. Yeah, we do. It's
so annoying.
It is, and the thing is, the whole thing, the chaos. Everything lives off chaos, and we've got to start talking. We're going to collapse as a world, as a country, as everything. We got to start talking here.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
just
well.
Go ahead.
I wanted to swing it over to Scott and get his thought. Oh, I'm sorry, Jen. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, it's fine.
Scott.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know when I was ready. I figured I'd listen to you guys and be quiet and take my turn, which doesn't really happen.
No.
I'm quiet. So. At any rate, when it comes to kneeling, what's that?
Well, Candy won't let you? No.
I'm laughing because that's the longest I've been quiet for a little while. So this is how things are in my household. You know what? My thoughts on any kneeling debate to me are what they are. It depends on the circumstances for what you're doing it. If it's for the national anthem, I don't tolerate it. I'm sorry, because of the fact that you deal with the military and some of the symbolism. And unfortunately for Mr. Kaepernick, he did it. He was ahead of his time when he had done it, and he's been blackballed from the league. Now, again, when you're talking about other circumstances for doing it, you know, I have to just judge everything individually and then formulate an opinion there. I'll probably give you the most general answer I've ever given you guys on this show, and I'm doing that for a reason, okay? Until I get all the facts of each situation, then I refrain from making comments that I would probably regret. So that's kind of my position. I don't like seeing the kneeling unless I really know what it's for or what it represents. So
I understand, Scott. My whole point is that I'm not going to. That's something I would not do myself. But there's a thing to this. Free speech, this flag, free speech, everything is supposed to be for every single person.
100%.
Everybody, regardless of what it is. We don't have to agree. We can agree. We can debate. The Pundits Pundits, what I love about it, the yin and yang I do on Thursday nights. Yeah. It's called, she's left of center, I'm right of center.
Right.
And it's like, but we talk. It's called, I think back of 84, I was 6 years old. I don't know the whole thing. I could do it now. Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill. You get that, Scott. Yeah, it's like you have you have two drunk, complete liberal and conservative going at it, and then they sign a bunch of bills. It's time we start debating, arguing, conversing, but quit the chaos.
Well, let me tell you, in this day and age, I've never seen in all my years of watching television, more debate shows appear than I ever have. Now, if I can lighten the subject up a little bit about debates, and I do like to incorporate a little bit of sense of humor, and I'm not trying to take away from Kirsten Henning or anything like that, but I'm talking about the debate shows in general. But many years ago at the University of South Florida, I was in an argumentation and debate class. And, I had this big debate, and I had 3 ladies on my team. And that particular thing depended on our, we had to work collectively. Well,
Did you get a word in edgewise?
Then? I was a lot younger then, so it was a different story. There weren't too many people that didn't give me a word back then. But we ended the subject we did, and I don't mean to take you off a little, but there's a purpose for my madness here, okay? We did something on prostitution. My God, me, a sports writer with 3 women talking about prostitution. And I'll tell you, we were so frustrated with the way we couldn't get information because it wasn't new that one of my ladies who was leading this whole team was, hey, you know what? We practically lived in the library. So she says, you're a journalist. Wait, hold on. Okay.
Sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. I mean, I'm trying to give you your space.
You're good.
Don't interrupt a good story like Paul Harvey would say back in the day. Let me say the rest of the story. Okay.
Yeah.
So at any rate, me biting my tongue, because back then it tastes as bad as my grilled cheese sandwiches, went 4 minutes in the microwave. They said, we can't get no stats here. I say, I hate to say this. It's against everything I stand for, but we can't get them. We got 2 or 3 days to get this right. We better make them up and make them sound credible. That's the first and only time I ever made up stats and ended up getting to be on the debate and save myself in that class. Now, getting back to where we're going with this kneeling thing again, it's okay for everybody to debate the matter. But when it comes to certain things like this, I take every situation individually is what I do and try to gather the facts before I come up with an opinion. And that's all I'm going to say.
When you said that there's a bunch of debate shows that you've ever seen, are they really debate shows or echoing to the choir?
To be honest with you, that's a great question. What I do with my first 4 hours in the morning is I'll watch Get Up and First Take. As much as I think Stephen A. Smith is the loudest chap on the planet, being a journalist, I try to overlook his loud behavior and try to say that this guy works hard to come up with a lot of facts, and he maybe outscreams people, but he's prepared. Now, when you talk about the fact that a year or 2 ago, I met Bob Lee at the National Sports Media Association convention, Bob is like I am, an old school investigative researcher who tries to go out there and make sure that we treat it like a magazine format, and he's the original person that began outside the line. So I like debate shows because it causes you to remember 2 words, refute and rebuttal. Refute means attack, rebuttal means rebuild. And if you base everything about everything that we go out there and talk about in society, they're all going to be based on the refute, rebuild, and the 5 W's and 1 8. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. And that's the core of anything that we talk about here, whether we want to realize it or not.
And Robert's Rules of Order. I love Robert's Rules of Order.
What's that?
Robert's Rules of Order. I love it.
Okay.
I loved that in my debate class, especially Division of the House.
I still can't believe to this day I was in a debate class and did a debate on prostitution. That's me doing a debate. And
was Michael Jordan in that class paying attention to you?
Hey, Jordan, let's hear your side. You've been just agreeing the whole time. I'd like to hear yours.
I pretty much agree with, Jay. It's like you have a right to, do whatever you want. And I get that. My question is what really happened between closed doors? We'll never know because according to what the coach is saying, it wasn't because of this, but it had to be about this. But that being said, it's definitely her right to kneel, and you can't take that, or not to kneel, I should say. It's your right to either kneel or not to kneel. You can't take that away. And I understand why she's taking it to court. If, in fact, obviously she won, that it's going to go to a jury court, of course, that means something did happen. So it was her right taken away.
Yeah.
Well, bullying her over that's just, that just looked like an ambush.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like an ambush, and it's like, It's like, again, we're getting back to they did this all these years. Now we got to revenge again. The whole revenge thing is just getting overplayed. It's like it's like, I'm just going to use this real quickly as far as the when the Republicans take the House, they want to go do investigations, blah blah blah. It's just going to keep going and going until someone finally says stop it.
And that's what needs to happen. Like, all in all, like, we just need to get back to the point where we're going to have a conversation. But you have people on both, like, on all sides of every topic, it seems, these days. Politics, and kneeling does go into politics, sports.
Yeah, for sure.
And, kneeling is in sports and politics. Hell, the color of the sky sometimes. Like, you just have people who want to argue and want to be miserable and
want to be right.
Yeah. And you know what? And sometimes you just got to decide to be meek. Being meek doesn't mean you're going to be weak.
Well, Jennifer, I got the greatest story to tell you guys. This is going to make you guys laugh, and I swear it does, okay? Number one, I had an uncle named Bob Franklin many years ago where all he did was debate, and everything you did was wrong. And the first time I met this kook, because he was a kook, by the way, and you know what? My aunt went to my grandmother and said, I'm sorry, Bob, behave this way, blah, blah, blah. I really am. I'm embarrassed. So he moves to Florida, okay? And then my Uncle Fred says, Scott, I know how you handle this guy. You know how you go out there and handle a character, agree with them all the time. So you know what? When my Uncle Fred told me to do that, I agreed with him all the time. He hated me, and I love this, and I got this guy. I swear to God. So I kept agreeing with this guy. He didn't want nothing to do with me. Agree with him, because all of a sudden you got flatness, cotton picking and going. And in the eyes of Keith Olbermann, who does Sports Center Highlight, where did he go? Way down to Bang.
Right.
So there you go. If you got a guy that wants, and I'll tell you, I hate bullying anyways, because Richie Incognito did it with the Miami Dolphins with this Martin guy. And, unfortunately, bullying I oppose.
I remember that.
But there you go. If you ever run across a chronic debater, agree with him, and then he'll have to do what I have to do. Take his migraine headaches, and then you can pull them out of Walgreens store, and then you're good. Well, hopefully we'll get a Walgreens as a sponsor after my endorsement of them.
In the last 2 months, Scott, I have had 2 different men lecture me when I have actually agreed with them.
Really? Wow.
There you
go. You got
mansplaining.
So you got mansplaining.
Jennifer.
Yeah. You got mansplaining twice.
Yeah.
Twice. You're playing the Eagles well, Jennifer.
And I hate that term. Oh.
I hate it worse than you.
No. You can't. I don't know why. I just don't feel so nasty coming off my tongue. Oh. Okay.
Well, the problem with debate nowadays is two things. Number one,
there isn't.
Emotional.
Go ahead, sir.
Well, exactly. Well, that's just it. It's about who can be the loudest and who can throw the most insults. Don't believe me? Look at social media all the time. Look at social media.
Oh, for sure.
Tom Brady could retire like during the summer, right? It's supposed to be a time to honor him, right? People didn't come on there and talk about how great he was or how much he sucked. Okay, and you're entitled to whatever opinion, But there's going to be insult throwing. There's going to be this. There's going to be that. A whole bunch of unnecessary stuff that we don't need. All these unnecessary calories that the meal doesn't need, But that's the problem nowadays. It's become about being dominant. Instead of exchanging facts and opinions, it's about being dominant. It's about being superior. Behind something where.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead. You said about Dom?
No, it's Doms from a bunch of the bottoms. It's just true. It's Doms from a bunch of bottoms. They try to dominate. Truthfully, that is just the way they are. It's like I was on Fox News for a Twitter trend years ago called Tweet Obamacare. I literally got on Neil Cavuto. Got the thing. The minute I got on there, my Twitter had 8,500. I was tweeting the whole of Obamacare. And I'm not kidding you. You just see how many bullies there are when I had them all over the place. But here's the issue. They walk away and block you when you're faster than they are. And you know how fast I can type and how fast I can catch somebody. Boy, I got a ton of blocks because I caught them right back. And they're bullies. There's just so many bullies that are behind a keyboard.
Yes.
Yeah,
it is.
And it doesn't matter what the political affiliation is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the problem with social media is you can and say anything because you're, behind a screen. That's the other problem.
Right. Which is why I pretty much just do my stuff. Huh?
Did you see the leather
that's
jacket
the problem.
on my meme on the Facebook? It said keyboard warrior on the back of the.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so let's do our last and feel good story.
That would be it. All right. And so just real quick before we wrap up, because we got to get Scott over to his house I know he's at his house right now, but we got to get him over to his other house. And that's the Sports Exchange right after this. You go on over to South Florida Tribune on YouTube or Facebook and Twitter and check that out. He's got a lot of loaded show for you. Awesome material, awesome stuff. Go over there and check it out as soon as this is done.
You're fading in and out again.
So, real quick, Brittany Griner comes home. Finally came home last week. Can you hear me now?
Kind of.
Sort of.
Still.
I guess not. It's okay, Jen. Just take it. Go ahead.
Okay. So Brittany Griner was released last week in an exchange with the arms dealer. We're not going to go into the politics of that. Brittany is actually right down the road from Richard Roundtree 2K22 right now in San Antonio at the Brooke Army Medical Center, getting the appropriate mental health care as well as the physical health care and just, the reintegration back into the American society. I don't even know, Jay, you're local in Texas, so you may know. I don't even know if her wife has been to visit her yet. But congratulations to Brittany for coming home. I know that the Whelan family was very excited for Brittany to come home. They made enough statements to that, and she and they're happy for her, and they're happy for Brittany's family, and they know that Biden is working on getting Whelan home too. So congrats, Brittany, and just take care of you and yours right now, and the WNBA will be there for you. So congratulations on coming home, ma'am.
The thing is, you got to think about this.
Oh, Jacob.
It's like you got to think about this for a second. It's like, is this going to change things now? Truthfully, just to be able to get proper wages. You guys got to remember, she went over there to play. It's like, are we going to be able to see less and less, people having, players other than the ones that volunteer to do it themselves, having to go overseas to play? Are we going to see less than that? Are we going to start seeing more like by itself? Are we going to be, got to remember, Brittany was making $225,000, which that is nothing if you're in training, if you're in diet, if you're in all that stuff like that. They had to play 12 months out of the year. So mind you, I'm not saying whatsoever that I would want the WNBA to ever be the NBA. They don't have they don't make the money to do that. What I'm saying is $1 million is not a stretch. It's just, to me, it's not going to be a stretch. Maybe you lose whatever they say, they lose the money, but it's like, it's not a stretch by itself. Even if you maybe buy it just keeps it from going overseas and getting in this kind of trouble.
Well, this is a whole other topic that we can go into, and we should probably see if Megan can come on because she's our queen of hoops. If she can't, maybe we can get Honey. But there's a lot of contracts in that, and basically they just want to get not paid the same amount, but even paid the same percentage.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And they know that it's not going to be the same amount. But at the end of the day, I do think that this will stop people from U.S. citizens and U.S. WNBA players from going to Russia and playing in Russia.
Or anywhere.
As it should.
Or anywhere.
I completely agree with you guys.
I think they'll still go in other places.
Yeah, or anywhere. I was about to say it also. Well, it's also about just being cognizant of what's going on in the world also. Like, for example, I would never vacation in Iran. Like, for example. You know what I mean? Just know what's going on in the world.
I think Brittany should have waited to quit until she was back on U.S. soil. Because remember, 12 hours before she was arrested, she quit the Russian basketball team.
Yeah,
that's true. That was just right when the war with Ukraine was going on, too.
Right before, 3 weeks before the war in Ukraine broke out. So Putin already knew what he was going to do. And so he wanted some leverage with the U.S. because he wasn't getting any traction with Whelan and President Trump. President Trump didn't want a Whelan deal for Whelan. I don't know if he was trying with Biden or not, but I do know at the end of the day, the Biden administration did come out and say, you're getting one, we're getting one or none.
I didn't like hearing Trump blab off about that in the first place because he could have gotten him out, Whelan out.
Oh, he could have. He could have. According to him. According to him, he could have.
Well, I'm saying all presidency. I don't care what he says. He says everything. I'm saying he says everything. I'm saying he had all presidency to get him out and didn't. I don't want to hear from him.
Right.
Yeah.
Just being truthful.
Real quick, I think Scott actually said he was going to sit this one out.
Jordan.
Scott wants to talk.
Oh, okay. Okay, go ahead.
No, I'll just say this, okay? Number one, Paul Whelan should have come back, and there's got to be a way to get this guy back, period, okay? Mm-hmm. Number two, here's what you've got with Brittany Griner. I'm happy she's home. I'm glad they made a one-for-one deal, although to me, that's really less acceptance. But you know why Brittany Griner really got let go here? Because it was a public relations headache for the Russians. Why would we want to keep a WNBA star with it getting all this kind of publicity? If this isn't the biggest public relations headache that they could get rid of, all they did was just took a little bit of they put a little flame out of the fire is what they really did. All right, we're off your back. And now Putin can go out there and play whatever game he wants. Give me somebody else. And if he's at the same class as Whelan, we'll do it. The object of the game is get as many people out, leverage one over the other. No, I'm not having this on the sports exchange because I have a lot of other topics that are really timely. However, okay, when I look at it at all, Brittany, glad you're home. Okay. And number two, you touched on it. I would find it hard pressed to see a lot of players going overseas to play basketball or what happened. There'd be a big cautious flag. But let's face the reality. I won't be fully at closure with this thing until Paul Whelan is back home. And he's from my neck of the woods in Metro Detroit, a Marine stuck there for 4 years. Can I ask each one of you guys a question? Did anybody know what a penal colony is before Brittany Griner?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
What about you, Jay? Yeah, I'll bet if you ask this question to a lot of people, many of them didn't know what a penal colony is before Brittany Griner, and many of them did. Well, guess what? Okay, now you know. And it's from what I hear, it's a bad place. So the bottom line is, I'll say it one last time, and I do have to get to the sports exchange in a minute, all right? And it's this, okay? Lashley's home, a lot more work to do. I hope that Brittany Griner, President Biden, whoever else is going to get on this train, that they need to get Paul back ASAP as well as the period.
They do, and they need to get our teachers. We have 13 other prisoners over there right now.
Yeah.
Right, well, they need to get them all back.
And you're right on that. And I have something, and I wanted to hear from Jordan real fast on the thing after, but I want to say this. Let me say this. Left or right, Democrat, Republican, whatever we have, philosophy we have. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this to the right-wingers on this one, just because it was a Brittany Griner. I don't care if you agree with her or disagree with her. I don't care what she had said, and I don't care what you've done. She is an American citizen.
Yep.
And guess what? Kirsten Henning could be easily in that situation one time, with enough the thing. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to agree to want her home. But do you know something? She's an American citizen too. They're all our citizens. The 13, they need to come home. I don't care what our philosophies are. They need to be home. We need to work on this. And it's like Brittany Griner is no different from the others.
All right. Real quick, Jordan, and then we got to wrap up and get Scott over to the sports exchange.
Yeah. Basically, I agree with what Jacob was saying. I think, honestly, with Griner coming home, it will hopefully reset, the negotiations for prisoners held in Russia. I also agree with you that the WNBA needs to pay their players better, because I think there is going to be a little bit of doubt with these WNBA players if the salaries don't go up, that if they go to overseas and to Russia, hopefully they don't, that one little violation, remember, she didn't have a big violation, that this is going to happen again.
Right, absolutely. Right. Well, that wraps up our show. I thank anybody who tuned in and who left likes and reacts. And real quick, Jen, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on a litany of shows on Sideline Sports. You can find me on Twitter, Jenna Cheryl, the professional fan. You can find me on Facebook at Jennifer Matthews Lewis. My Pride and Joy show is Chicks and Salsa, 3 Chicks in a Pod, Tuesday night, 7:30. And of course, Pundits Pundit. I'm talking too much because we know we got to get the guys on their other show. So take it away, Scott.
All right. Well, all I can tell you in the abbreviated time we have is just please subscribe to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. Please subscribe. I enjoy coming on Basket Bros as well as Pundits Pundit as well. But you can find every show that we have to offer on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. Just hit it. Go to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. Please subscribe, and you see everything we got to offer. Thank you.
The next, I'm going to say this real fast. I'm not going to do all of them. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, I'm just going to say fast. Monday night, next Monday night, one of my brand new shows, Pundit Views. Jen is my producer. I'm going to be doing interviews with people. I'll be doing interviews with both sports and entertainment and with sideline sports people. So that's what the start of it. It's going to be a one-on-one interview, and then my producer. I love her to death.
So you can find me on all the sideline sports shows that I'm invited to. I also have my own under review, which is on Fridays. Follow me at SportsScoop1, and I have a blog that I write Mondays through Thursdays with podcasts on Fridays at sports-scoop.com.
And let them know the shows that you're on with us. You're on.
Oh, that's true.
106
Stitches, as well as sometimes Inside the Pigskin.
And I will see you over there, Scott.
And hold on, Jay, where can everybody find you at, my friend? Because you're on a lot of shows too.
Confidentials, we just did an episode. Go check it out. It's on our free agency. Those are Tuesday nights. New time coming soon. Pundits Pundit Wednesday. Gauntlet Friday. Basketball Sunday. All right. And that ends our show. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And we will see you next week. Later.